The summer sun beat down on the busy streets of Riverdale City. Zara Johnson walked with quick steps, her colorful blue dress moving in the light breeze. She was late for her cousin's birthday party, and her mother would not be happy. Zara was 18 years old, smart, and beautiful. Her dark skin glowed in the sunlight as she hurried past shops and busy cafes. People in Riverdale knew about the rising crime in the city. Just last week, someone had stolen jewelry from Mrs. Parker's shop. The police were looking everywhere for the thief. They only knew it was a young woman with dark skin wearing a colorful dress carrying a small bag. Zara checked her phone and saw 3 missed calls from her mother. She sighed and put her phone back in her small purse. The birthday party was important. Her cousin Malik was turning 16 and the whole family would be there. Zara had saved money for 3 months to buy him a special gift, a watch that Malik had wanted for a long time. Officer Brian Miller and Officer Pete Thompson sat in their police car at the corner of Main Street. They were tired after working for 10 hours straight. The police radio crackled with news about the jewelry thief. Young female, dark skin, colorful dress, last seen near Main Street with a small bag, said the voice on the radio. "Hey, look, over there," said Officer Miller, pointing at Zara as she walked quickly down the street. "She matches the description. Young, dark skin, colorful dress, small bag." Officer Thompson nodded. "Let's check it out. Chief will be happy if we catch the thief today." They drove slowly beside Zara, then parked the car and got out. Zara didn't notice them at first. She was thinking about the party and how she would explain being late again. "Excuse me, miss," called Officer Miller. "We need to talk to you." Zara stopped and turned around. She saw the 2 police officers walking toward her. Her heart started beating faster. She had done nothing wrong, but police always made her nervous. "Yes, officers, is something wrong?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Where are you going in such a hurry?" asked Officer Thompson, looking at her up and down. "To my cousin's birthday party. I'm already late," Zara explained. She showed them her phone with the missed calls. "My mom has been calling me." Officer Miller didn't seem to believe her. "We've had reports of a jewelry theft. The thief matches your description. Mind if we check your bag?" Zara felt her face get hot. People walking by were starting to stare. Some even stopped to watch. "I didn't steal anything," she said. "But you can check my bag if you need to." She handed her purse to Officer Miller. He opened it and found her phone, some money, lipstick, keys, and a small wrapped box. "What's in the box?" he asked with narrow eyes. "It's a watch. A birthday gift for my cousin," Zara explained. "I saved for months to buy it." Officer Miller opened the box. Inside was a nice watch, still with the price tag from Wilson's department store. "Do you have a receipt for this?" he asked. Zara nodded and took out her wallet. She found the receipt and showed it to the officer. But Officer Thompson wasn't satisfied. "The report says the thief might be hiding stolen items under her clothes," he said. "We need to check." Zara's eyes grew wide. "What? No, you can't search me like that here on the street." By now, at least 10 people had stopped to watch. Some had their phones out, recording everything. Zara felt tears coming to her eyes. This was so unfair and embarrassing. "We have to do our job, miss," said Officer Miller. "Turn around and put your hands against the wall." With shaking hands, Zara did as she was told. Officer Thompson patted down her sides. Then to her horror, he lifted the edge of her dress a few inches. "What are you doing?" Zara cried, trying to pull away. "You can't do this." Officer Thompson saw something strapped to her thigh. "What's this?" he asked, pointing. "It's my medical pouch," Zara said through tears. "I have diabetes. It has my insulin and sugar tablets." Officer Miller pulled up her dress a bit more to see better. People in the growing crowd gasped. Some yelled at the officers to stop. "This is wrong," shouted a woman in the crowd. "You're humiliating this poor girl." Suddenly, a black car with government plates stopped near them. The door opened and a tall man in an expensive suit stepped out. His face showed anger as he walked quickly toward them. "Take your hands off my daughter right now," he shouted. The officers turned to see Mayor Robert Johnson walking toward them. The crowd started whispering and pointing. Mayor Johnson was well known and respected in Riverdale. He had been mayor for 5 years. Officer Thompson immediately stepped back from Zara. "Mayor Johnson, sir, You were just what? Publicly humiliating my daughter? Pulling up her dress on a busy street?" The mayor's voice was cold with anger. Zara ran to her father, tears running down her face. "Dad, they thought I stole jewelry," she sobbed. "They wouldn't believe me." Mayor Johnson put his arm around his daughter. "Did you even ask for ID?" he asked the officers. "Did you follow proper search procedures? Or did you just see a young black woman in a dress and decide she must be guilty?" Officer Miller looked uncomfortable. "Sir, we received a description of a young female with dark skin in a colorful dress. Do you know how many women that could be in this city?" The mayor was trying to control his anger. "This is exactly the kind of racial profiling I've been fighting against." People in the crowd were nodding. Many still had their phones out recording everything. This would be all over social media in minutes. "Sir, we were just doing our job," Officer Thompson tried to explain. "Your job is to protect all citizens, not harass them based on vague descriptions," said Mayor Johnson. "I want your badge numbers and your supervisor's name. This incident will not be ignored." The officers looked at each other nervously. They knew they were in serious trouble. Mayor Johnson turned to the crowd. "Thank you all for being witnesses today. If anyone has video of this incident, please contact my office." Then he gently led Zara to his car. She was still crying softly, feeling the mix of shame and relief. "I'm so sorry this happened to you, sweetheart," he said quietly. "But we're going to make sure something good comes from this. This stops now." As they drove away, Zara knew her life had changed forever. What started as a simple trip to a birthday party would become something much bigger, and she had no idea what would happen next. The next morning, Zara woke up feeling tired. She had hardly slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw people watching her as the police officers searched her. She saw their phones recording her shame. The memory made her stomach hurt. Her phone kept buzzing with messages from friends who had seen videos of the incident online. By now, thousands of people had watched what happened. Some news channels were also talking about it. Zara pulled her blanket over her head. She didn't want to face the world today. There was a soft knock on her bedroom door. "Zara, can I come in?" It was her mother, Lisa Johnson. "Yes, Mom," Zara said quietly. Lisa came in and sat on the edge of Zara's bed. She was a beautiful woman with kind eyes, but today those eyes looked worried. She gently touched Zara's hair. "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" she asked. Zara shrugged. "I don't know. Embarrassed, angry, scared." She paused. "How's Dad?" Lisa sighed. "He's been on the phone all morning. The police chief called to apologize. News reporters keep calling too. Your father is very angry, but he's also determined to use the situation to make real changes." Zara sat up in bed. "What kind of changes?" "He's calling for a complete review of police search procedures. He wants better training for officers about racial bias. And he wants the 2 officers who stopped you to be held responsible," Lisa explained. Zara thought about this. Part of her wanted those officers to lose their jobs, but another part of her wondered if that would really solve the bigger problem. "Mom, this doesn't just happen to the mayor's daughter," Zara said. "It happens to people who don't have power every day. If Dad just gets those 2 officers in trouble, nothing really changes." Lisa looked at her daughter with pride. Even after what happened, Zara was thinking about others. "Your father feels the same way, that's why he's planning something bigger. But first, he wants to talk to you about doing a press conference." Zara's eyes widened. "A press conference? With me? I don't know if I can talk about this in front of cameras and reporters." "You don't have to decide right now," Lisa said, hugging her. "But your father thinks your voice could be powerful. People need to hear from you directly." Downstairs, Mayor Johnson was in his home office. His face was serious as he talked on the phone with the police chief. "No, Chief Williams, an apology is not enough," he said firmly. "Those officers humiliated My daughter in public based on a vague description that could match hundreds of young women in this city. He listened for a moment. I understand they were doing their job, but how they did it was completely wrong. And we both know this isn't just about Zara. This happens to young people of color every day. After he hung up, he sat thinking. As a black man who had become mayor, Robert Johnson had always tried to build bridges between communities and the police. He believed most officers were good people trying to protect the city. But what happened to Zara showed that serious problems still existed. His assistant called to tell him that Officer Miller and Officer Thompson had been put on leave while the department investigated the incident. The police chief wanted to meet with the mayor and Zara to apologize in person. Mayor Johnson walked to the window and looked out at their yard. When he and Lisa bought this house in the best part of town, he thought his family would be safe from the kind of treatment that other black families often faced. But now he realized that even being the mayor's daughter hadn't protected Zara. When he went upstairs to talk to Zara, he found her sitting on her bed looking at her phone with a shocked expression. "Dad, you need to see this," she said, handing him the phone. On the screen was a social media page called Justice for Zara. It already had over 50,000 followers. People were sharing their own stories of being unfairly stopped and searched by police. There were pictures of protests starting to form outside the police station. People were holding signs that said, "Protect our daughters," and "Even the mayor's child isn't safe." Mayor Johnson sat down heavily on the bed. "This is growing faster than I expected," he said. Zara scrolled through more posts. "Look at all these stories, Dad. So many people have gone through what I did, or worse. But no one stopped to help them because their fathers weren't the mayor." She showed him a post from a young woman named Tasha who wrote, "When police searched me last year, no one helped. No one recorded it. No one believed me when I said they were too rough. I wish someone had cared about me the way they care about the mayor's daughter." Zara looked at her father with tears in her eyes. "We have to do something for all these people too, not just for me." Mayor Johnson nodded. "You're right, and I have an idea." He told Zara about his plan to use this incident to push for major changes in police training and procedures. "But to do this, I need your help. Are you willing to speak out?" Zara thought about it. The idea of talking in front of cameras and reporters scared her, but the thought of staying silent while others continued to face unfair treatment scared her more. "Yes," she said. "I'll do it." Later that afternoon, Zara sat nervously in her father's office at City Hall. In 30 minutes, they would face reporters for a press conference. Her mother helped her choose a simple but nice yellow dress. Zara wanted to look strong and confident, even though her hands were shaking. There was a knock on the door, and Chief Williams came in. He was a tall man with gray hair and a serious face. Behind him were Officer Miller and Officer Thompson, looking uncomfortable in their uniforms. "Miss Johnson," said the chief, "these officers have something they would like to say to you." "Officer." Miller stepped forward. He couldn't quite meet Zara's eyes. "Miss Johnson, I want to apologize for what happened yesterday. We were wrong to search you that way. We embarrassed you and we're truly sorry." Officer Thompson nodded. "We should have been more professional. We should have asked more questions before jumping to conclusions." Zara looked at both men. She could tell Officer Miller's apology was real, but Officer Thompson seemed more worried about his job than sorry for what he did. "Thank you for apologizing," Zara said. "But this isn't just about me. How many other young women have you searched? Like that? Did you apologize to them too?" The officers had no answer. They looked at the floor. Chief Williams spoke up. "Miss Johnson, I promise you that what happened is being taken very seriously. We are reviewing all our procedures." Mayor Johnson put his hand on Zara's shoulder. "We appreciate that, Chief. But we're going to need more than promises. We need real change." As the officers and the chief left the room, Zara took deep breaths to calm herself. Soon she would tell her story to the whole city. She was scared but ready. "You can do this," her father said. "Just speak from your heart." Zara nodded. What had started as a terrible, humiliating experience was about to become something much bigger. She didn't know exactly what would happen next, but she knew that her voice would help make a difference. The press conference room was packed. Reporters from all over the city and even from national news channels filled every seat. Cameras were set up in the back, their red lights blinking. Zara had never seen so many people waiting to hear her speak. Her mouth felt dry. Mayor Johnson stood at the podium looking serious in his dark blue suit. Zara sat to his right with her mother on her other side. Lisa Johnson held her daughter's hand tightly. "Thank you all for coming," Mayor Johnson began. "Yesterday, my daughter Zara was stopped by 2 police officers while walking to her cousin's birthday party. Based on a vague description of a suspect, these officers searched her in public, lifting her dress and humiliating her in front of strangers. Cameras flashed, reporters scribbled notes. Zara tried to stay calm by focusing on her breathing just like her mother had taught her. As mayor of this city, I have always worked to build trust between our communities and our police department," continued Mayor Johnson. "But yesterday I wasn't just a mayor. I was a father watching my child being treated unfairly because of the color of her skin." He paused, his voice becoming stronger. "This isn't just about Zara. It's about every young person who has been unfairly targeted, searched, or harassed. It's about the thousands of stories we've seen shared online since yesterday. Stories from people who didn't have a mayor for a father to step in and help them." Mayor Johnson announced his plan for police reform: better training about racial bias, new rules for searching suspects, body cameras for all officers, and a citizen review board to look at complaints against police. Then he turned to Zara. "Now, my daughter would like to say a few words." Zara stood up slowly. Her legs felt weak as she walked to the podium. The microphone seemed to point at her like fingers. She put her prepared speech on the podium, but when she looked up at all the faces watching her, she decided to speak from her heart instead. "My name is Zara Johnson. I'm 18 years old. Yesterday I was walking to my cousin's birthday party when 2 police officers stopped me. They thought I stole jewelry because I matched a description, a young female with dark skin in a colorful dress." She took a deep breath before continuing. "They searched my bag. They didn't believe me when I said the watch inside was a birthday gift I had saved for months to buy. Then they made me put my hands against a wall and started to search under my dress in public." Zara's voice shook slightly, but she kept going. "I felt scared. I felt ashamed. I felt like I wasn't being treated as a human being with feelings and rights. I was just a suspect to them, not a person." The room was completely silent now. Everyone was listening carefully. I was lucky. My father saw what was happening and stopped it. But what about all the other young women who don't have a mayor for a father? Who speaks for them? Who protects them? Zara looked directly into the cameras. "Since yesterday, thousands of people have shared similar stories online. This happens every day to people who look like me. The only difference is that most of them don't get justice or apologies." A reporter raised her hand. "Zara, what do you want to happen to the officers who searched you?" Zara thought carefully before answering. "I don't want anyone to lose their job. I want them to learn from this mistake. I want them to understand how it feels to be treated like a criminal when you've done nothing wrong. And I want all officers to get better training so this doesn't keep happening." Another reporter asked, "Are you planning to sue the police department?" Mayor Johnson stepped in to answer that question. "We're not focused on lawsuits. We're focused on creating real change in how policing works in our city. That's why I'm announcing the formation of the Community Safety Commission, which will bring together police leaders, community members, and experts to create new policies." The press conference lasted nearly an hour. By the end, Zara felt tired, but proud. She had spoken her truth and people had listened. As they were leaving, a young black woman reporter came up to Zara. "Thank you," the reporter said quietly. "What you're doing matters. It will help so many people." That evening, Zara's story was on every news channel. People were calling her brave and strong. The hashtag #ThuIndir Justice for Zara was trending online. But not everyone supported her. Some people said she was making a big deal out of nothing. Others said the police were just doing their job and shouldn't be blamed. Zara tried not to read too many comments online, but it was hard to ignore them. She was sitting in her room when her phone rang. It was her cousin Malik. "Hey, how are you doing?" he asked. "I saw you on TV. You were amazing." "Thanks," Zara said. "I'm sorry I missed your birthday party." Malik laughed. "Are you kidding? You're famous now. But seriously, I'm proud of you. Standing up like that takes courage." After talking to Malik, Zara checked her email. She was surprised to find hundreds of messages from people she didn't know. Many were from young women sharing their own stories of being stopped or searched by police. Some were thanking her for speaking out. Others were asking how they could help change things. One email caught her attention. It was from a girl named Tasha Williams, the same Tasha who had posted online about being roughly searched by police last year. "Dear Zara," the email began. "I never thought anyone would care about what happened to me. When I saw you on TV today, I cried because finally someone was saying the things I've wanted to say. Would you meet with me and some other girls who've had similar experiences? We want to help with your father's new commission." Zara immediately replied, saying she would love to meet. She had an idea forming, but she needed to talk to her father first. The next morning, Zara went to her father's home office. Mayor Johnson was on the phone again, looking tired but determined. When he saw Zara, he quickly ended his call. "Dad, I've been getting emails from other girls who were searched unfairly by police," Zara said. "One of them, Tasha, wants to meet with me. She and others want to help with your new commission." Mayor Johnson nodded. "That's a good idea. Their voices should be heard too." "I was thinking," Zara said, sitting down across from him, "what if we created a youth advisory group as part of the commission? Young people who have experienced these problems could help create the solutions." Her father looked at her with pride. "That's an excellent idea. Would you be willing to lead this group?" Zara hadn't expected that question. "Me? I don't know anything about police policy or politics." "But you know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of unfair treatment," her father said. "And you've shown that you can speak clearly and honestly about difficult things. That's exactly what we need." Zara thought about it. The idea of leading a group scared her, but it also excited her. Maybe this was why that terrible thing had happened to her, so she could help make sure it didn't happen to others. "Okay," she said. "I'll do it." Mayor Johnson smiled. "Good. We have a meeting with the police chief tomorrow to start planning the commission. You should be there." As Zara left her father's office, she felt different than she had 3 days ago. The shame and fear were still there, but now there was also purpose and hope. What had started as one of the worst days of her life was turning into something important, something that might help many other young women like her. And this was just the beginning. The next day, Zara sat nervously in the large meeting room at City Hall. Around the big wooden table sat important people: Police Chief Williams, 3 city council members, 2 community leaders, and her father, Mayor Johnson. Zara wore a simple dark blue dress and had pulled her hair back neatly. She wanted to look serious and professional. "Thank you all for coming," Mayor Johnson began. "As you know, we're here to start planning the new Community Safety Commission. This commission will review police procedures and recommend changes to make our city safer and fairer for everyone." Chief Williams shifted uncomfortably in his chair. He was not happy about the commission, but he knew he had to cooperate. The video of Zara being searched had been seen by millions of people online. The police department was getting hundreds of angry calls and emails every day. "Before we start," the chief said, "I want to say again how sorry we are about what happened to your daughter, Mayor Johnson. Those officers used poor judgment and they are being disciplined." Zara looked directly at the chief. "What exactly does being disciplined mean?" she asked. Everyone at the table seemed surprised that she had spoken up. The chief cleared his throat. "Well, they are on leave while we investigate. They will receive additional training on proper search procedures and racial sensitivity." Zara nodded but didn't smile. "And what about all the other people who were searched unfairly before me? Will those officers get additional training too?" The room went quiet. Mayor Johnson looked at his daughter with pride, but also concern. He hadn't expected her to challenge the chief so directly. One of the city council members, Mrs. Garcia, spoke up. That's actually a very good question. Do we have any data on how many street searches are conducted, who is being searched, and what the outcomes are? The chief looked uncomfortable again. We keep records of arrests, but not of every stop and search. That's part of the problem, Zara said. If you don't track it, how do you know if officers are treating everyone fairly? Mayor Johnson decided to move the meeting forward. My daughter has a proposal for the commission. Zara, would you like to explain your idea? Zara took a deep breath. I think we should create a youth advisory group as part of the commission. Young people who have experienced unfair treatment by police could share their stories and help create solutions. Mrs. Garcia nodded enthusiastically. I think that's an excellent idea. We need to hear directly from the people most affected. Not everyone agreed. Mr. Peterson, another council member, frowned. With all due respect, Miss Johnson, we need experienced professionals making these decisions, not teenagers. Zara felt her face get hot, but she stayed calm. Sir, I'm not saying teenagers should make all the decisions, but how can you create good solutions if you don't understand the problem from our point of view? I've already heard from dozens of young people who want to share their experiences. Chief Williams surprisingly nodded. Actually, I think Miss Johnson has a point. My officers work with young people every day. Understanding their perspective could help us do our jobs better. By the end of the meeting, they had agreed to form the Youth Advisory Group as part of the commission. Zara would lead it with help from Mrs. Garcia. They would meet twice a month and report their findings to the main commission. As they were leaving, Chief Williams approached Zara. Miss Johnson, I admire your courage, he said. Not many people would turn a bad experience into something positive like this. Zara looked at him carefully. Thank you. But I hope you understand that this isn't just about one bad experience. It's about changing a system that treats some people differently than others. The chief nodded slowly. I understand. And I want you to know that most officers join the force because they want to help people, not hurt them. We can do better, and we will. That weekend, Zara met with Tasha Williams and 5 other young people who had contacted her after seeing her on the news. They gathered at a community center in Zara's neighborhood. Each person shared their story of being stopped, questioned, or searched by police. Tasha's story was especially painful. She was only 16 when 2 officers stopped her while she was walking home from school. They searched her backpack and made her empty her pockets. When they found nothing, instead of apologizing, they warned her to stay out of trouble, as if she had done something wrong. The worst part wasn't the search, Tasha said. It was how they looked at me, like I was already guilty of something just because of how I look. Marcus, a tall boy with glasses, nodded. That's how they made me feel too. I was just waiting for the bus when they asked what I was really doing there, like I couldn't just be waiting for a bus like everyone else. Zara listened carefully to each story. She took notes and asked questions. By the end of the meeting, they had identified several common problems. Vague descriptions being used to stop people, searches being conducted without proper explanation, young people not knowing their rights, and officers using disrespectful language. These are exactly the kinds of issues we need to bring to the commission, Zara said. Would all of you be willing to join the Youth Advisory Group? Everyone agreed. They decided to meet again the following week to prepare for the first official commission meeting. When Zara got home, she found Officer Miller waiting in her living room talking with her father. She stopped in surprise. Zara, her father said, Officer Miller has something he wants to discuss with you. Officer Miller stood up. He looked different in regular clothes instead of his uniform. Younger and less intimidating. Miss Johnson, he said, I've been doing a lot of thinking since what happened. I joined the police because I wanted to help people and make the city safer. But I realize now that the way I've been doing my job sometimes hurts the very people I'm supposed to protect. Zara wasn't sure what to say. She sat down across from him. I want to help with your youth advisory group. Officer Miller continued. If you'll have me. I think officers need to hear these stories directly. And maybe I can help explain the police perspective too, so we can find solutions that work for everyone. Zara looked at her father, who nodded slightly. letting her know this was her decision to make. "Officer Miller," Zara said slowly, "I appreciate you coming here. It takes courage to admit mistakes and try to fix them." She paused. "I think having a police officer who wants to listen and learn would be valuable for our group, but you would need to come as an equal participant, not as an authority figure." Officer Miller nodded. "I understand, and please, call me David." That night Zara couldn't sleep. So much had happened in just a few days. Her life had completely changed. She was no longer just a regular high school student. Now people recognized her on the street. Reporters called asking for interviews. She was leading a group that might help change how police worked in her city. It was exciting, but also scary. What if she failed? What if nothing really changed? What if this was all just talk that would be forgotten in a few weeks? Her phone buzzed with a text from Tasha. "Just wanted to say thanks again for bringing us together today. For the first time, I feel like someone is actually listening to us." Zara smiled in the dark. Even if she couldn't change the whole system, overnight she had already made a difference for Tasha and the others in the group. That was a start. Tomorrow would be another busy day. The local news station wanted to interview her about the youth advisory group. She was nervous but ready. Her voice was getting stronger every day, and she was not alone anymore. 3 months had passed since that day when police officers had stopped and searched Zara on the street. Autumn leaves now covered the sidewalks of Riverdale City. The air was cool, and people wore light jackets as they walked downtown. Zara sat in the large meeting room at City Hall, looking at the clock on the wall. In 15 minutes, the Community Safety Commission would present its recommendations to the City Council. As the leader of the Youth Advisory Group, Zara would speak about their findings and suggestions. She looked down at her notes one more time. The Youth Advisory Group had worked hard for 3 months. They had interviewed over 50 young people about their experiences with police. They had researched what other cities were doing to improve police-community relations. They had even gone on ride-alongs with officers to understand their daily work. Officer David Miller, who now asked everyone to call him just David, had been a valuable member of the group. He had helped the young people understand police procedures and challenges. In return, he had listened carefully to their stories and concerns. "Are you ready?" asked Tasha, sitting down next to Zara. In the past months, Tasha had become Zara's close friend and right-hand person in the Youth Advisory Group. "I think so," Zara said, "just a little nervous." "You'll do great," Tasha assured her. "You always do." The room began to fill with people. The city council members took their seats at the front. Mayor Johnson came in and gave Zara an encouraging smile. Reporters set up their cameras along the back wall. Many community members came to watch, including several young people who had shared their stories with the Youth Advisory Group. Chief Williams arrived with several high-ranking police officers. The chief looked serious but nodded respectfully to Zara. Their relationship had improved over the months as they worked together on the commission. At exactly 6 p.m., the meeting began. Mrs. Garcia, who chaired the commission, spoke first about their overall process and goals. Then various members presented different parts of their recommendations. Finally, it was Zara's turn. She walked to the podium, taking a deep breath to calm her nerves. The room was completely quiet. "Good evening," she began. "My name is Zara Johnson. 3 months ago, I was stopped and searched by police officers while walking to my cousin's birthday party. That experience was humiliating and scary. But instead of just being angry, I decided to try to make things better." She gestured to the other young people from her group who sat in the front row. "Together with these amazing young people, I've spent the last 3 months listening to stories, researching solutions, and working with police officers to find a better way forward." Zara then explained the 5 key recommendations from the Youth Advisory Group. First, all officers should wear body cameras that cannot be turned off during interactions with the public. Second, officers must clearly explain to people why they are being stopped and what their rights are. Third, officers should receive better training about implicit bias and how to interact respectfully with young people of color. Fourth, the police department should collect and publish data about who they stop and search and why. Fifth, A permanent youth advisory board should be created to continue providing young people's perspectives to the police department. We believe these changes will help build trust between police and young people in our community, Zara concluded. When that trust exists, everyone is safer, both the public and the officers who serve them. The room erupted in applause. Even Chief Williams was clapping. Mayor Johnson looked at his daughter with tears in his eyes, so proud of what she had accomplished. After all the presentations were finished, the City Council voted unanimously to adopt all the Commission's recommendations. The changes would begin immediately, with full implementation expected within 6 months. As people were leaving the meeting, a woman approached Zara. She was in her 40s with kind eyes and a warm smile. Miss Johnson, my name is Sandra Torres. I'm a professor at Riverdale University. I teach criminal justice. Nice to meet you, Zara said, shaking her hand. I've been following your work with the Youth Advisory Group, Professor Torres continued. It's impressive, especially for someone your age. Have you thought about what you want to do after high school? Zara nodded. I was planning to study art. I love painting and drawing. But lately, I've been thinking about law or political science. I want to keep working on these issues. Professor Torres smiled. Well, I run a special program at the university for students interested in criminal justice reform. We offer scholarships to promising young leaders. I'd like to tell you more about it sometime. Zara couldn't believe it. A college scholarship? For doing work she cared about? I would love that, she said. Later that evening, the Johnson family celebrated at home with pizza and ice cream. Lisa hugged her daughter tightly. I am so proud of you, sweetheart. You took something terrible and turned it into something wonderful. Mayor. Johnson raised his glass of soda and a toast. To Zara, who taught this old politician a thing or two about making real change happen. Zara laughed. Dad, you're not old. Maybe not, he smiled. But I've been in politics for 15 years, and I've never seen a group of young people have such an impact on city policy. You've changed things that I've been trying to change for years. The doorbell rang. It was David Miller, holding a small gift bag. Sorry to interrupt your family celebration, he said. I just wanted to drop this off for Zara. Inside the bag was a beautiful journal with her name engraved on the cover. The note inside read, For recording your next great ideas. Thank you for teaching me to be a better officer and a better person. David. Zara was touched. Thank you, she said. And thank you for having the courage to join our group when many other officers wouldn't. It was the best decision I've made, David said. The things I've learned from you and the other young people have completely changed how I do my job. I'm even helping train other officers now on how to better interact with youth. The next morning, Zara walked to school feeling lighter than she had in months. The weight of that terrible day was finally lifting. As she passed the spot where the officers had stopped her 3 months ago, she didn't feel fear or anger anymore. Instead, she felt pride in how far she had come. Her phone buzzed with a text from Tasha. Have you seen the news? They're already ordering the body cameras, and the chief wants us to help with the new training program for officers. Zara smiled. This was just the beginning. At school, people treated her differently now. Teachers asked for her opinion in class discussions about social issues. Students she barely knew before stopped to congratulate her on the commission's success. Even the principal had asked her to speak at an assembly about youth activism. After school, Zara met with Professor Torres to learn more about the university scholarship program. As they talked, Zara realized that her future was opening up in ways she had never imagined. Your experience and the work you've done would make you an excellent candidate for our program, Professor Torres explained. We need young leaders like you who can build bridges between communities and the justice system. Walking home, Zara thought about how much had changed because of one terrible moment. If those officers hadn't stopped her that day, if they hadn't lifted her dress, if her father hadn't seen what was happening, would anything be different in Riverdale now? She couldn't know for sure. But she did know that sometimes the worst moments in life could lead to the most important changes. She had found her voice, her purpose, and a path forward that might help many other young people like her. As Zara reached her house, she saw a group of children playing happily in a neighbor's yard. She hoped that when they grew up, they would live in a city where everyone was treated with dignity and respect, no matter what they looked like or where they came from, and she knew that she was helping to build that future, one small step at a time.